Hello, Crypto Disco fandom ravers. Tonight's headliner is my homeboy Victor from Humanode, a general genius gigabrain who's into blockchain, economics, decentralized governance, and all things technology. He is the founder of Citadel One, and most recently, his baby has been Humanode, a blockchain with secure biometric verification. It's like WorldCoin, except better, without the creepy orb and a much cooler founder. We have a long discussion about code, business, blockchain, economics, even systems administration. And then we end the show with an art exhibition. I hope you enjoyed the show.
This is where the top minds from the crypto underground share their secrets, their plans, and their full true knowledge. What you learn here tonight might literally blow your mind. I now permit you entrance to the Crypto Disco.
Welcome
Hey,
to
Matt.
the podcast. I went to so the first show I went to Bangkok, which was fun. I'm not too sure if it sets like too high of a bar, because after the first show we got matching tattoos. My cousin and me and his buddy and I guess a bunch of other people around the world. He's promoting a unicorn meme coin, and so we all got matching unicorn tattoo. I got the tattoo just because it's my cousin. And
is it magic tattoo or a normal tattoo?
No, it's matching. Yeah, it's the unicorn. Here, I don't know if I can't show you. It's on my leg, so I can't show you without doing like gymnastics. But
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So I'm just saying, like, if we end up getting matching tattoos by the end of the show, that would be like, or if we plan it, that would be like the tradition. So no pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, I have no tattoos on my body yet.
We can fix that here at the Crypto Disco. We're all about that. Mandatory tattoos to enter the Crypto Disco. Cool, man. So I'm recording. I think this is working.
This is.
And cool. So yeah.
Well, how do you want to kick it off?
I don't know. I think
so many
just like
things
this.
to talk about. Yeah, I'm not here to shield, but on my own project though. But I'm here to shield some stuff. I actually have some stuff ready over there. I'm not sure where about, but I can fix that with my camera.
Oh, I can. Yeah, the screen. Yeah, what is on? Oh, right. It's your girlfriend's NFT collection. Is that right?
Some of them are NFTs, some of them are not. Yeah, she has a few collections. Sometimes she just creates something and puts it on OpenSea. Of course, almost nobody buys it, or
that's
without marketing. Without marketing, you can't launch anything on.
That's
OpenSea.
crypto. Yeah, that's crypto in general, basically.
Yeah. I mean, she's one of those who are putting their basically photos on Zora, using Zora instead of Instagram. Have you heard about this movement?
No. So people are, instead of using Instagram, they just mint their photos as an NFT on Zora?
Yeah, exactly. They just mint them an NFT on Zora, put them out there, and Zora pretty much looks like Instagram, maybe better.
That's cool. It's a little scary. I kind of like the idea of being able to delete stuff later. I like the idea of like some things should be immutable and some things are not. But yeah, that's cool.
You know how these NFT work, right? If they are video NFTs, most likely that their weight is so big that you can't actually put them on chain. You only put basically their representation, so to say, on chain. But the video or photo itself is not on chain. You can just delete it from the server, and it's gone. It's not on OpenSea anymore.
Well, that's like my beef with NFTs in general, and why I just never got into the NFT thing.
It's surprising. You're an artist. Well, I'm not. That's why I never went into NFTs.
that's why I kind of hated the whole NFT thing, like in general, because like I know art, I know artists, I am an art collector, like and I know the call. So when NFTs happened, I realized, oh, this is just ICOs, but with art. It's IC. The problem the NFT solved that I think is that with the ICO boom. I mean, well then again, this is my 2 cents. I'm cynical about the whole thing, obviously, but yeah. So I was just like, oh, this is the problem with ICOs is that white papers were too much to read, and retail like average people like didn't want to. They were done pretending that they were Mark Andreessen, and now they wanted to pretend like they were an art collector. So I was very very cynical of NFTs just because I feel like the people collecting these NFT, most of them were not. They were just gambling, which is like which is like why meme coins are the latest innovation, because now they've removed. So like meme coins are great because because they're honest, in my opinion, because meme coins have removed the pretension of people pretending that they're Sotheby's, that they're an art collector, and because people just want to gamble recklessly, and it's meme coins are very good at that. But anyways, enough of my FUD on NFTs. But yeah, I mean, like I've been waiting for like a use case where, but I mean, like so that's the other thing though. Like yeah, like people put the video, like the content itself is usually not like on chain. It used to be people used to put it on IPFS or something, and then they put the hash, in the NFT contract itself. But
yeah, they still do that. But it's still pretty expensive if you have a 3D video, not just a JPEG or PNG file. And anyways, my take on NFTs is like the NFTs as kind of speculative art. It went down, of course, but NFTs as a useful thing, part of the protocol, it's becoming more and more widespread, non-stop. You have soulbound tokens like badges that you get for completing some tasks, non-stop on all chains. One of the biggest use case a few years ago, one of the biggest driver of transactions, platforms like Galaxy, Quest 10, all this stuff. Not very popular nowadays. I think they dropped in terms of real user base 10 times over the last year or so, from the numbers I personally seen. And that's getting Sybil accounts away, so to say, clean data more or less that we have. And what else? Well, you basically do different things of NFTs. Right now, we are representing scientific hypotheses as an NFT. That's also something that we do in DeSci space.
Okay, this is news to me. I mean, so this is like what I always ask friends who are into NFTs and stuff, like, all right, why do you like? Because there are people who are passionate about it, and like they found like basically product market fit. So so I've never heard of this. So what is the NFT usage in the DeSci space?
So usually they use not the vanilla standard NFT, right? But the one where you can have multiple NFTs. But you basically can turn it into like NFT IP, intellectual property holding NFT, so to say. This is one of the things. Another thing is a completely new project that my friends are working on. It's called Episteme. And they're trying to turn the speculation into actual funding for science. And they do it through creating an on-chain hypothesis about some discovery, let's say cure to cancer, and they allow people to bet on it. Will we have a cure to cancer in 1 year, 2 years, or not?
Okay.
Yeah, you can get in and out anytime, right? You can generate volume. Volume generates fees. These fees go to actual researchers of the hypothesis to fund science. And people end up trading kind of scientific coins, but it's not just a zero-sum game, because they have a positive externality for the scientific lab that actually researches that. And they do have NFTs as one of their things inside the protocol, but users will never ever notice it. So we use NFTs in crypto in a lot of things, but users don't even see it. In gaming, NFTs are still a thing. You know that games generate around 30% of all the on-chain transactions in our space. Have you heard about it?
I did not know that. That's a big number.
Yeah, that's a big
Cool.
number.
Yeah, which
And
is it still? Yeah, I mean, like, what's the number one game right now? Is it still Axie or Sandbox?
I think it changes a lot. We've had a wave of these Telegram-based games, right? Where you have just to claim something every 6 hours, and every like click of button on the Telegram mini app would generate an on-chain transaction, which drove 90% of transactions of Near protocol. They had this hot wallet, but I mean Telegram mini game are they are dying. People understand that this is an awful market. I can tell you about it later. Don't want to talk about it much, but it's an awful thing.
The market is awful, or is the Telegram
The whole
mini game?
business model, what the companies are doing there, the users themselves. So it's not actually Web3 what you see on Telegram. There are some on-chain actions happening, but these are very dumb Web2, even below Web2 quality things that exist only for one reason: to buy traffic and sell traffic at a higher price. The traffic of people. Basically, I call it human trafficking in a sense, but it's digital human trafficking. It's Telegram mini apps. They have millions of users, and you can see this in the statistics of Telegram, right? Nobody cares whether they're real people or not. Nobody cares about that. They just need big numbers in, big numbers out in order to sell this to another mini app. And it's like a swamp, where mini apps sell traffic to each other. And these poor people who don't know anything about crypto, who do not value their time, they're just going and clicking through stuff on these mini apps. Usually it's like, share, referrals. They don't even have fun. They just work for free for these human traffickers who are selling like traffic digitally, of course, not in real life.
This sounds extremely dystopian.
That's what happens on Telegram mini apps, yeah, and people are starting to get it finally.
So wait a second. So allow me to understand this dark dystopian. It's blockchain is so funny because people like you and I might sit down and we'll talk about, yeah, we could use NFTs to fund open source scientific research, and what if we use transaction fees for like common good stuff, and then we build a bunch of stuff, and then it just turns out people are just like click farming.
That's another part of NFTs.
So wait a second. So I'm curious about this. I've never heard of this. So there's a Telegram mini app, and so what is it? You join the app. It's like a link, right? You join. It's like click join the group, and then you have to click. Whatever.
Your mini app is an app. It has some stupid game inside. Usually, this game is not fun at all. Usually, and it's of low quality because you actually cannot put a game of high quality that you would like as a normal mobile gamer. You cannot put it inside Telegram. Just full stop. Telegram will not allow you to put a normal game there. And you go in there, you do some in-game things, like claim or mine these tokens. Okay, you can do it every 12 hours, so they make you come back every 12 hours or so.
Okay.
And millions of people are doing that. And below that, you also have a section you can earn additional points by joining this Telegram mini app, or by spreading your word about another Telegram mini app. And it's just a swamp, and people go from one to another.
And the points are they can like trade the points for tokens for like.
That's the thing. So there are some popular games. There was Hamster Combo, right?
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Who got 100 million accounts. Okay, I'm sure this is not they are not users, real ones, but I bet they had few millions of real users, which is already a lot. And then you had the not coin. So the first ones, the high quality ones, right? They at the end they TGE'd. Okay, they launched their tokens, But today the situation is much worse. I mean, people farm, basically the developers of these mini apps, they farm the attention of people on the expectation of future rewards, but they never release a token and don't have a plan to. They only have to plan to continue farming people. That's it. That's as awful as it is. That's what we've, five people from our team, we went into this market for 2 weeks. It was a disgusting experience of business development, the worst in our lives, because we were coming there saying, hey guys, maybe you want to verify these people are real in order to give them tokens in the end, only to real people, not to 1 million fake accounts. And they said, we're not interesting. Do you need traffic? We can sell you traffic.
Crazy.
That was the whole talk, There are still some good apps. Yeah, there is Bloom, there is Hot Wallet, which I believe will not scam people like that, which have some good products, but it's just, you can count them in your fingers.
I mean, to me, this kind of, I've been of the opinion that there's, I think what's been happening in the crypto market in the last 2 years, or maybe even 5 years, I think is reflective of a general sense of nihilism, especially in the West. And I've been of the opinion that like the meme coin thing is just pure financial nihilism. It's speculating for the sake of it's almost just a collaborative performance art. It's like we've all collectively. It used to be that there was some in the stock market. There's some. It's not just pure speculation. There's supposed to be some underlying value, underlying the speculative price of a particular stock or something. Where if eventually if a business, if they there's a relation between what the business does from financially and the performance of the stock. And in theory, with meme coins, we've completely removed it, right? And so it's pure nihilism. So I don't know. It's you don't see that like in Asia.
Really?
Yeah, I mean in Asia, I feel like there's more. I feel like meme coins are more popular in the West. And it's a little bit more nihilist. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Is it more? Is this nihilism? Are we experiencing like broad economic nihilism in crypto? Is that or is that like a cynical take? Do you think of the crypto of the market right now with memes and stuff?
I think it's a good explanation of what happens and why these memes exist. A good explanation for utility people like you and me. Why it really happens, maybe that's right. I mean, the question here, where it comes from, because I don't think it's only in the West. Everybody's doing that all over the world. If they have internet connection and some money, because nihilism stems from complete gap, a huge gap between people and the financial system, and that's my take on it. I'm not sure. Where do you think nihilism is coming from?
Yeah, I think I think the financial. Well, as an American anyway, I feel like the nihilism stems from the fact that. My generation is the first to not do financially better than their parents' generation, right? So, in the evolution of like cryptocurrencies, and the macro trends within crypto, first you had, Bitcoin, and then you had kind of Bitcoin knockoffs, and that would be Doge and Litecoin and these kind of things, and people were, kind of speculating on which of these tokens. But people were getting rich, right? And for like a lot of people, like for our generation, like this kind of is the only viable path for like home ownership for like a lot of people in our generation, So they've then there was this idea that, with ICOs and stuff, that maybe, when you buy a token, you're investing in a business, you're investing in a team, right? So you had teams giving you roadmaps and white papers and big plans, and it was sort of like buying equity, but it's not equity. And then obviously there was a regulatory concern, but people were pretending that they were Mark Andreessen and investing. I think the nihilism that behind memes and stuff as it is just the. There's something sad about it because it's really the only path to financial freedom for most people in our generation globally, and so I think it just stems from that, frankly, and I think it's kind of unjustified. I mean, I feel like there's so much more that we could be doing with blockchain, but I think the market trends are reflecting a general sense of nihilism in the culture. I don't know. So that's my. What do you think?
There are other ways to get rich, but getting rich quick with a very low probability, of course, crypto is the best place to do so. I have a little bit another take. Yes, it adds on to the fact that the prices are up. Like, if anybody wants to see why this generation is different from 2 generations before, check out the website. What the fuck happened in 1971?
Yeah, I've seen that.
and you'll see the rise of the things we daily use, like food and electricity. What else do we need? Well, property, education. That's pretty much all regular people need, right? And it's crazy how they. Another thing is that, in my point of view, from the person from the macroeconomics and economics, that's my favorite science because it's the least developed science in the world. Experiments are too expensive. I hope we can fix it in crypto and have experiments on, a lower scale and then scale it up faster to the country levels. So what happened is that, well, before you could understand how the system works. You had gold standard. You had reserves in gold. Then, if you had a fiat currency after that, you would still have reserves of the currency inside a bank. But right now, the banks they just draw numbers on your account. It's what you call kitchen in trading. These are not real, more or less, and there are no reserves, and most of the money supply is actually right now in the shadow banking system, which people don't even know about. Why? Because shadow banking system is accessible only to financial institutions and to high net worth individuals, and you will never get these products if you're just a regular human being. But
could you define that, the shadow banking system?
Shadow banking system. It's not that it's like a gray or non-legal area, but shadow banks, they don't look like banks. They have completely different kind of assets and liabilities, which are usually some structured financial instruments, not cash, not equity, and not loans. These are some things like CDPs that we had back during the crash of 2008, and even more new ones, And shadow banks, they can operate because of that outside of the regulatory oversight from the central banks. They can exist offshore, and they now produce more than half of the dollar supply, so to say, in the world. Because we know that banks, what they do, they get some dollars on their accounts, and then they turn it into even more, right? So shadow banks contribute to more than 50%.
So hot take. I mean, is the Bitcoin maxi path, is that the solution to unwinding a lot of this murky, opaque financial fuckery in the world? Is simply getting away from the dollar as the global reserve currency onto a fixed currency like Bitcoin? Would that make the world a more just place?
It sounds like straightforward and just. However, finance really contributed to the efficiency and the real growth of humanity, frankly speaking. Like, because liquidity, you need it. Why? You needed to open a business. You needed to, well, open a VC fund. You needed to start whatever in your life. Yes. And if you have a fixed supply currency and you only use the base asset, like Bitcoin, we will be developing really slowly. We will lose this financial efficiency. People will lend to each other less and less. It will be almost impossible to start a new business, and even more impossible to have a successful business, because, you know, as an entrepreneur, you have to fail a few times before you figure out how to do stuff and have a good idea. So I still think that, looking at the history of monetary system, we had fractional reserve in the banks for some reasons. And until we had fractional reserves, we had crisis every year just because of the changes of the weather and the farming seasons. And we don't want to go back there.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a hot take. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there who have this very, like, yeah, I mean, actually, that kind of goes counter to, like, a lot of the Bitcoin maxi thinking. But I mean, there's definitely something to that, and I mean, one could argue that, I mean, though, like, in the West we're experiencing inflation and everything's seemingly more expensive, that actually the money printer go burr that happened in the States during 2020 actually did prevent a major recession. Like, that, there is the argument to be made there. Like, the ability to print money like that is, it's a feature worth hanging on to, even though people complain about it. I'm kind of undecided. I mean, generally, like,
Yeah.
I generally like. I'm a fan of democratizing power, but it wouldn't be great if we can make the money print to go burr as opposed to this kind of unelected cartel.
Exactly. You democratically vote on when you need to inject liquidity or not, and where it goes. Like, not to the banks to bail them out, but to the people, right? So that's
okay. So that's all right. So let's actually. I want to just be sure that, like, we talk about Humanode, and I still have a bunch of questions about Humanode. So
here we can start, because it's already connected to Humanode.
Wait, what is?
Well, I mean, democratization of the financial system and trying to make it work, trying to make it more transparent, less volatile, but still somehow have nice DeFi systems which are not Bitcoin maxi systems. So all of it.
Yeah, democracy. Yeah, I mean, I'm very I've been very fascinated with your work with Humanode, and, like, we've talked about this a bit in the past. But I'm of the belief that in 100 years, when they write the history books about this era in history, and they talk about, there's a paragraph about the usage of blockchain technology, the history books will say, yeah, I mean, like, they use it for money at first, because it's a distributed ledger, but then they figured out how to use it to vote. And once people started, using that feature of blockchain, then all of a sudden, the nation state, as it was known and defined for centuries, was thrown into question, because all of a sudden people didn't need elected representatives quite as much, because they could vote independently the people could vote amongst themselves without a legal system as an intermediary. So that's and so Humanode. So, like, that's Humanode. So Humanode seems to be tech contributing to this future. I mean, that is a possible. Well, use case. Well, let me ask you, man. Like, what? So okay, and so for the viewers, Humanode is a EVM blockchain, right?
Yeah, we can start with that.
Okay, it's an EVM blockchain, and you solve for pseudo anonymity. So you have a An identity. Well, maybe you should you should explain. So my understanding is you solve for identity, and you have effectively an encrypted identity biometric system built in.
Yeah.
You could probably explain it better than I can, I think.
So the main idea is to decentralize the blockchain itself, because we do have decentralized blockchain technology, public blockchains. They're all based on capital, which is either proof of work or proof of stake. And capital is not decentralized. So how can you make a truly decentralized nationwide system which all citizens will agree to use if it's a plutocracy? I don't see this case happening. Well, if we live in pure oligarchy and like Musk is indeed the president of the United States, well, it might happen, but people won't be okay. Bernie Sanders will say, what the heck? And he will probably jump to another kind of technology, notice Humanode. And basically, we decentralize the validator level, making it so that each validator has a weight of one. Irrespective of how much money he has, irrespective of how much power he has in terms of mining, each validator is equal to another validator, making it so that you don't have 10 validators who actually have over 50% of the blockchain, which means that they are able to collude and at least stop it. Okay, so and we also talk about governance a lot in the blockchain. We are a little bit there, in terms of real DAOs in the blockchain. Probably you know some as well, but in my opinion, Polkadot is pretty much one of the strongest DAOs in crypto in terms of real decentralization of the voting, the whole process, down to the upgrades of the blockchain, down to that field. Yeah, and in Humanode we see that and we say, guys, you have pure plutocracies. You have 1-2 people. It's clearly seen on chain in the voting.
Yeah.
That decide the vote. Yeah. In Uniswap, you have A16Z coming in deciding the vote. In MakerDAO, you have one founder deciding the vote. In Polkadot, it's even worse. You have one man who accumulated a lot of Polkadot. He wasn't part of Polkadot, and then he tells people where they spend money on. Yeah. And this is what we want to change. We want to create a DAO which will be somewhat democratic, but real validator DAO, controlling the layer one, controlling the ledger, not just some app or something like that.
Yeah. Well, good. No, that it's been. In blockchain and in DAOs for a long time, it's been democracy theater. It's plutocracy. It boils down to the people who control the organization are the ones with the most money. It's not representative of, or there's just one person. Or there's just one person voting. No one really uses DAOs really. There's only a couple of DAOs really out there with any kind of activity really.
If you check out the website for the DAO base or something like that, it's pretty active in terms of addresses. We don't know if these are real human, but I also like what Optimism is doing, because they do have representative with one person, one vote features. And we do have active DAOs. My only take was that we don't have really decentralized DAOs at the layer one. We don't even have sometimes decentralized plutocracies, because few of the blockchains and DAOs get to the level when the vote of the token holders or validators actually turns into a network upgrade directly without somebody holding the keys from the GitHub and making the manual update of the main code base.
Okay, so I'm curious. So I've actually, so I'm curious, from a user perspective, exactly. So, all right. So let's say hypothetically, Victor, I wanted to, I'm launching Pizza DAO, and I've got 10 members, and we all have to vote on what the toppings for the pizza is going to be for lunch. and I want to make sure I want to use Humanode because I want to prevent a Sybil attack. I want to prevent somebody from using a bunch of different accounts to vote for the mushrooms or pepperoni. So yeah, how would I set that up with Humanode to enable one vote, or at the very least, one vote, one person, i.e., prevent a Sybil attack?
Okay, well, I don't know like that, but I would set it up through Snapshot just because it's easy. You set up a DAO snapshot, and before doing the DAO snapshot, you ask everybody to go through biometric verification, because in Humanode you have on-chain biometric verification that anybody can use, not only our validators, for any EVM account. And you ask people, hey, prove your uniqueness first, and then they send you these addresses, and you can add them to the DAO and on Snapshot, and you can vote. I think it's the easiest thing you could do right now.
Cool. So you're set up. So I know Snapshot. So you're set up with. So Humanode is set up with Snapshot.
No, we haven't set up with Snapshot directly integrated, but there is a way to do it without actually integration, just because we all use EVM accounts and stuff like that. But we're gonna do that one day. I mean, just not on the nearest roadmap. The development, when you have a lot of things to develop, you have to put priorities, and some of the things that are down the road for years and years to come, unless you have non-stop funding, which of course we don't have. Yeah, frankly speaking, we'll need help, because we're finally at the stage when we get out of our small Humanode bubble, so to say, because we're a separate chain with separate tech, and now we're giving our biometrics to every chain out there, going into each ecosystem to see who needs the proof of uniqueness, proof of humanity thing. And there are a lot of protocols we need to integrate, which is not really hard to. We just have to connect our smart contracts to each other, probably set up some backend, a little one for it, and then that's it.
Okay, so I'm curious. How does the biometric I think you showed me before. You have an app, right? You have an app, an iOS, like a native app.
A lot of things in terms of biometrics. So we started with the layer 1, right, which is only used by validators. So there you locally from your node connect to the biometric servers, which are trust execution environments, so that everything is private, so that even we do not know the key from the server. But again, we're using these biometric servers not only for the chain now, but we developed Discord integration, which went pretty viral. So you can actually do that with your friends at a pizza. Discord integration. You invite your friends to the Discord server. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you ask your friends, hey guys, get a unique human role on our Discord server. Unless you get a role, you cannot vote. So that only verified unique people can vote on Discord server, and Discord has its own voting, so it works just like.
So you're saying that Humanode, right now you guys have the technology in place to fix the stupid, CAPTCHA, am I human, user experience problem on Discord, because for me that would be a revolutionary use case of blockchain, in my opinion.
You can find few servers who would do that. Why? Because it's really hardcore to ask every incoming person to Discord to scan his face. Like, it is pretty hardcore. So it's not mandatory in our case. Only if you want to vote, only if you want to receive rewards on Discord. This is the case when projects use us. We have over 500 servers using us, and I know at least like 50 of them personally. And
can I once I validate, my humanness, can I then is there like a sort of a passport NFT that I could, or a POAP or something that I can kind of use as a as a passport to go from server to server. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas, and if you don't have that, like we should,
So
maybe we could build that.
it's not on-chain thing, right? It's not on-chain thing because Discord is not on-chain.
Right.
It's off-chain, but what you have, Discord has a feature of linked roles, so it gives the ability to give people roles based on external information. It can be a role based on the fact that you have 50 GitHub stars, or it can be the role of unique human being. So basically, once you scan yourself and you get a global Discord role of unique human being, if the bot is in, for example, my server as well, and you will come, you won't have to scan yourself twice. You will automatically get the role. So it's based on roles in Discord. That's why it didn't work well yet for us in terms of Telegram integration, which we also did. Basically, chats for unique humans. Unless you're a unique human, you cannot enter the chat. You know what's wonderful? There is no spam at all. No spam at all. Zero. So good. You don't even need admins now. You can just chat.
Yeah, that sounds like paradise. I mean, like, so really, like, really, I mean, really, one of the problems that you're attempting to solve then is basically the dead internet theory, right? Because I think we're rapidly approaching. At least some people have said that at least half the content coming out right now, by bits is generated. And we're barreling towards the dead internet theory. So you guys would be like a solution.
I already cannot read the comments on Twitter. Before they were interesting. Now you just see, oh my god, this is just LLM generated comments, and you can't find real human input with valuable insights in it. They're just reformulating what they read automatically in the post, and the comments are kind of getting lost, already dead, like not 50%, even more for me.
I mean, like every time, it's LLM generated nonsense. But it, I'm always wondering, like, well, I want to have an LLM bot. Like, I want to be spamming people's Twitters with whatever message. I think that would be kind of fun.
If it doesn't bring nonsense, so to say, it's fine. I agree, and there is no getting back. We should only go forward until the comments LLMs provide real insights, not like right now. They're just spammy, and I think they will be smarter than people on the internet, and we will not have a problem with that. Hopefully.
So, side note, because we're going to put this podcast. I'm going to put this podcast on Twitter and on YouTube and stuff. So I just want to leave a message here for anyone running one of these LLM spam farms. I am interested in doing a sort of crypto disco performance art comment project where we just have a lot of AI just commenting like crypto disco is life, crypto disco is life, crypto disco is the future, crypto disco is, and just put it all over. And like, I've got a little bit of money for this, so just leave your contact information below.
Yeah, I think I had these guys in my DMs. I can recommend you. They can give you a 3-day free. They will spam all over for you for free for 3 days.
Wow.
But we just said to them, no, guys, we don't need it in our comments on Humanode or whatever we're building. But you can try it out.
Humanode is.
You have to kickstart this. I mean,
Well, Humanode, I mean, you guys are running a classy operation there. You guys aren't going to be doing spam. The crypto disco, on the other hand, we are going to be spamming all kinds of weird stuff all over the place, just for our own amusement, basically. So that's sweet with you. I mean, so like, what are you most excited? Like, what are you most excited about with Humanode? Like, what's on your roadmap that's got you like super jazzed?
Well, frankly speaking, we spend a lot of time on adoption, which is not super jazzed, but it's valuable for protocols and for our protocol in terms of fee generation, revenue generation stuff, business metrics, things like that, and adoption. But I'm really interested more in this year's development, which our team will focus on, which will be building out the DAO. So we do have a network where one person is one node, but the DAO is non-existent. It's complete autocracy of 3 people, myself being one of them. And we want this to stop, okay? Our goal with the DAO is to build one person, one vote DAO with specialized chambers. So unless you're a specialist, you cannot actually vote. Yeah, and with basically the first real DAO in crypto, a democratic, meritocratic, and as we call it, cognitocratic, which is where we value cognitocratic. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is where we value that the person is unique. We value that the person does stuff, and we value that the person gives ideas of what to build next, which is like cognitocracy.
You're literally evaluating creativity, and you're quantifying. You're effectively, what you're saying is you're quantifying the creative value that someone is bringing to a group by their peers.
By subjective voting. We only quantify it by subjective voting, because, well, you can quantify it based on the outcome of the idea, but sometimes you cannot do that, because if you're like Albert Einstein and you wrote something, it only will be proved in 20 years. So, and what was the real value? Well, after being proven, it's going to be actually utilized in technology in another 50 years. So you cannot evaluate it like that without waiting for it for 100 years, well, when the person dies. We have to do a subjective evaluation of ideas and the effort as well, which is like meritocratic part of it.
Well, that's cool, because like a lot of people just in general are not that unique or special and don't have good ideas. So this way you can actually build, establish a sort of like, I mean, you're codifying what humans have been doing socially for a long time, and that people have been trying to kind of reproduce on the internet for a while in online communities and online reputation systems. But you're kind of taking it to the next level because you're solving for identity.
Of course, you can have a reputation system because you solve for Sybil resistance. It's not even about identity, because I used to say, yes, it is kind of identity, but identity is like your passport. It's information about you. And in crypto, we have like ZK identities, which is, again, information you collect about you, and then you can share it or not share it. In our case, we don't know shit about the person who is using our protocol. It's like, don't KYC. And we don't know anything about the person, well, before he gets into the DAO and starts earning his reputation. Yeah. And of course, like, Sybil resistance is all about making reputation pure, so that there is no Sybil attack to subvert your reputation system. Yeah, that's true. And we never had that in crypto, frankly speaking. For some reason, do you remember this, when we had utility ICO season back in 2017, when we were putting blockchain everywhere, in every arse, so to say. We were putting blockchains, and we had even identity startups. But for some reason, they never shipped an basic on-chain Sybil resistance. This is so weird. I mean, it's okay. It takes time, especially to make it private, and the biometric accuracy actually wasn't there to support millions of people like we can now. But I'm surprised that it takes us so long to build useful things.
So actually, I mean, like, really what you're doing and really where the tech is now is it really is like still kind of leading edge. I mean, it is like, in fact, I would even say it's still kind of almost immature compared to like 2017. You had like Civic and some of these identity startups, but that was just
Civic is still there. Civic is still there, and Civic works. It works fine. They made it. There are like in terms of verification of EVM addresses, not in terms of making the blockchain of unique humans. They are like the best and direct competitors to us, and they're doing a great job.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they have neat products. Yeah.
Well, I thought actually, and like I know some of those guys. My old company Menlo was partnered, like Vinny and all these guys. They're good guys. But I thought here's the thing. I thought, and I wanted to ask you this. Really, your main competitor would actually be something more like WorldCoin. I thought what you're doing is actually, if I'm mistaken, because it sounds like
we don't actually have one yet.
A competitor, or
in terms of decentralizing the layer 1 and the whole governance, no, we don't have a competitor yet. WorldCoin WorldCoin is doing, so I can give you a quick comparison between the visions of WorldCoin and our vision.
I mean, competitor was like the wrong word. Like, because they have a whole different.
We're all doing biometrics.
The tech is
We're
different.
all doing biometrics. This is true. Yeah.
Because they're doing like well, maybe you should. Yeah, if you could. What? How do you guys compare and contrast? You guys in WorldCoin, apart from the fact that you're not creepy, and I personally find Sam Altman a little creepy. Sorry, maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe that's not very nice. But you were not
the first one who told me, "Hey guys, I better work with you than work with WorldCoin because it's creepy." You were not the first one.
Yeah, I mean there is something kind of inherently creepy, and maybe it's the orb, maybe it's the industrial design of the creepy science fiction orb.
Maybe it's the fact, that the orb, is actually collecting your data if you agree to, but you can skip it. But I think that most people agree to it. And it's giving you tokens not for free, I would say, in some sense, but for your biometric data. That's how they trained the system. They had a lot of iris scans all over the world, which made them very accurate. I mean, that was a great job. They pretty quickly, in biometric development terms, created a very accurate model for comparing people one to another, and they're good at it. So the other thing I want to compare, we're using different types of biometrics. They need an orb for iris scans. Do you know why?
I mean, they need a camera and they need to store it securely, right? Isn't that isn't that how that works?
We can store things securely without specialized devices because you even have TE on your iPhone, and you can have TE on your remote server, which we do. That's where we store anonymized 3D face data. So you really need specialized hardware devices for two types of biometrics, which is the palm scan, and there are projects doing that in crypto as well, and which is the iris scan, because our cameras, they are not that accurate, and they don't have a infrared. You don't have infrared camera, and you really need it to scan the iris.
Infrared, okay.
Yeah,
that's why.
And basically, the most accurate thing we can have in biometrics on your phone is facial recognition. And if you compare really good developed algorithms, palm recognition with specialized device, of course, and iris scan with specialized device will be 10, maybe 100 times more accurate still than what we can do with facial recognition in our phones. But availability is the thing, inclusiveness is the thing. Of course, we all thought in the beginning of developing our own hardware, which is also a great business, by the way. You can sell hardware. What can be better, man? It's not just selling software. And but inclusiveness, it's hard. I mean, I went to Bogota to get my eye scan, to Colombia, 14-hour flight.
Wait, why Colombia of all places?
Because DEFCON 6. Colombia.
Oh. Yeah.
It was great
too. That was great.
So I want to really compare other things, like our economic systems, so to say, right? So in WorldCoin case, it looks scary because you have a very rich person behind it, a rich person who is creating AI, which is taking people's jobs. And maybe not. I mean, I think AI is good for our economy and for the people as well, not bad. I can explain it later. But he's also like giving you money for free. And you know, it's kind of already that dystopian future where you have general AI, which is much smarter than us, and we are just like small pets to him, and he just feeds us for free. So this is how WorldCoin looks.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like we're just little goats in a petting zoo, and you put the money in and get your handful, and you're kind of feeding the goats.
Yeah, and on the other hand, like what we're trying to do with Humanode, you're not getting money for free in Humanode, never. You're actually setting up a validator node, being sure that it's 99% uptime, otherwise you don't get anything. And basically, well, you spend around 10, 15 bucks a day, and you're getting back a little bit more in tokens. People run it sometimes for ideological reasons, not just for $10 profit a month. And eventually, our goal is to not to turn humans into pets, but humans would be, you know, the part of the future of the society where AIs are much richer than us, but we still have the underlying financial system which we support as humans, which AIs use. And the fees that AIs pay to the system for doing transactions, they eventually go directly and proportionally to all the humans equally. And humans feel like they're part of the financial system. They're not living here just to be fed by the Lord, but they are actually doing something, you know. So that's the whole difference, I would say.
Yeah, there's a debate in kind of like right now in kind of like online like leftist political circles regarding, and I think we talked about this briefly, the you know the leftist movement of fully automated luxury communism, where which is basically it's Star Trek. Basically, that's basically the synopsis of the book. It's a Star Trek future where, you know, in the near future, AI and automation is going to solve for, you know, like 90% of, you know, everything's going to be automated basically. And so what kind of future do we want? And basically we can use AI for a sort of fair distribution of the bottom tier of the Maslow's hierarchy, food and shelter and these kind of things distributed to people. And yeah, there's a discussion right now regarding to what degree could what types of governance systems in this theoretical system could be built in, and like is democracy important in this kind of thing? And I strongly believe that it should be. And so this is kind of like what I mean, I guess the contrast would be like WorldCoin is much more of like a classic, people are comparing WorldCoin and the oligarchy to, you know, to a neo-feudalism system, basically, where the AI is going to be taking your job, and Sam Altman is kind of feeding us. Sam Altman and Elon kind of feeding us like we're little goats in their petting zoo. And what you're describing sounds much more like a sort of anarcho-communist kind of a future where, you know, we can leverage AI in these systems to distribute goods and services and stuff, but ultimately democracy is an MVP feature within the application itself. I hope that's not too rambly about.
Yeah. I just want to state one thing, that we still want to have prices. Prices are great, you know. Economy functions really bad without prices, and I think prices is the thing from the capitalism that we will always have.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think people are going to be. There's always going to be markets.
Otherwise, it's just incredibly hard to quantify things and to do things efficiently, to understand, you know, where we need to move money next, so to say. Or not money, even. Like, if you don't have money, you at least have to have some common denominator of the assets. even if it's not an asset in its own. So that was one of the things we were thinking of. Like, why do you have to hoard dollars, right? When dollars are only good when you can interchange them for something else. So why can't we have just a digital denomination of all the assets in the world, which actually cannot be held as an asset on its own? So only the assets would be interchangeable between one another. You would have like digital gold, a little bit of oil, silver, and coins in your portfolio, but then you would never have actually money in your portfolio. Money would be just representation of the things.
I mean, it just sounds like crypto as it is. It sounds like Uniswap. It sounds like you have all these, we can swap all these different coins for one another, but, what the underlying value is complex.
But in Uniswap, there is always a pair with USDT or USDC, and that's how you swap one coin to another through this routing. So imagine there wouldn't be a pair at all. We could somehow figure out the price.
So to get down to brass tacks, how can I want to run a validator?
Okay. Yeah.
Are they making money right now? Are the validators
No, they're always making money, just a little bit. Especially if you sell right away. There is also a thing like bull mining, where you mine a lot while the coin is cheap, and then you're waiting for the pump, so to say. It's like DCAing through your node. So you basically you run it like a normal proof of stake node, but you have to think about costs a lot. Usually our validators find the lowest cost cloud server possible, or run it at home. 10% I run it at home. So it's just a normal, very lightweight proof of stake node that you have to have 24/7 with the uptime. It does completely the same stuff as in proof of stake, but we just took all these proof of stake modules, threw them away, and we built biometric modules and like proof of human uniqueness modules, so to say, where people, after setting up this validator node in order to participate in consensus, have to authenticate themselves every week. So that's how it works in validators, because the smaller the time frame of your authentication into the system, the less is the chance of a sock puppeting attack.
Sock puppeting.
Sock puppeting, yeah. So we solved for Sybil resistance, but we cannot solve for sock puppeting. And sock puppeting is when you ask your friends, your family, or people on the street who have no money to scan their faces, and give you few more accounts which are kind of Sybil resistant, but you just stole others' identity.
When you step back and really think about the implications of what you're doing, it's actually quite big. Bitcoin is ultimately still proof of stake, because you need a lot of money to launch a Bitcoin mining operation, and you need cheap energy, and it can be purchased. So it really is. Hold on, my girlfriend just got home. I'll be right back.
If it would be too big of a deal, we would be meeting somewhere in Kazakhstan, because that's in between us.
Like we maybe the next time that we do a podcast, we should actually just meet in Kazakhstan. That sounds actually awesome.
It's just maybe 6-hour flight for each of us.
It sounds fantastic. I only know, unfortunately, most of what I know about Kazakhstan is from Borat, right? Which is fiction.
Which is not true at all. Yeah. He actually was showing off, I would say, some other regions nearby. He just masked it under Kazakhstan because he thought that Kazakhstan people won't be offended because it doesn't look like them at all. But they still got offended.
They're pretty offended. I think I saw a thing from the Kazakhstan government where it was like a Kazakhstan tourism, and they like leaned into the, the Sasha Bear code, and it's like visit Kazakhstan. They show like the beautiful rivers and the beautiful mountains, and then they're just like so nice at the very end.
Yeah, they got the joke finally, like after a few years.
Yeah, they finally so sometimes you gotta lean in. You gotta lean in. But people were pissed. People were pissed. People were pissed for a while. Dude, you gotta come visit me in Vietnam. Actually, I mean, well, next time you're in the region, I've got a whole podcast studio with couches and lights and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, next time, come visit in Vietnam, and we'll do one of these IRL.
Okay. Well, I just visited a few months ago, so I'm not traveling for a while now. I'm actually moving soon to UK, so I probably told you that as well. I'm preparing full speed.
You're moving to the UK?
Yeah, I want to be there before June. Yeah.
Wow. Why the UK?
Because, I don't know, I liked there when I was 16. Now it's a little bit different. But in general, I want to move into the cultural, financial, and educational center, so to say. And I love big cities, but not like Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh. So kind of more like Moscow, London, Berlin, this style of city.
Yeah, I mean they're all nice. It's not impossible that I end up in Berlin in the next few years, or in the next year even. I am talking with a partner. And I'm talking with a potential partner, and their headquarters is in Berlin, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all remote." I'm like, "Well, can you get me a visa?" And they're like, "Yeah, maybe." I've always wanted to live in Berlin. I love Berlin, so maybe I end up there.
Yeah, it's full of Rust engineers, I know.
Yeah, Rust engineers, aging techno DJs. I mean, there's just like a lot of blockchain stuff. There's always been a lot of blockchain stuff in Berlin. It's been a very blockchainy Web3 kind of town. Yeah, so I might end up there.
I still remember that evening when we were on the conference Aragon. Aragon, when Aragon was like the best thing we ever had in the DAO space. They held a party on a boat. It was so fun to be dancing nearby Vlad Zamfir. I will never forget it.
That guy can party. That guy can definitely party.
Yeah.
Vlad can definitely party. That's cool. Yeah, it's a time. Yeah, it's definitely like there's a lot of good blockchain stuff happening there. And yeah, I know we'll see if I end up there. It could be fun. Well, where in the UK are you moving? London?
Nearby, whatever, somewhere near.
Okay.
Somewhere safe.
Cool. Somewhere safe. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
that's the main parameter I'm choosing it. Right?
Well, there seems to be a lot of bad news. Well, there's like a lot of bad news, kind of about London and the UK and the economy. And it is kind of hard to parse fact from fiction, to know how much of the news is sensationalized, and how much is, how much is real. I don't know.
When this whole bad stuff is coming on the surface, it means it's going to change soon.
It's going to change soon. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a lot of things are changing for the better right now. Well, hey, man, what's your take on the Trump admin? I feel like most of my friends are like very excited, or they're extremely optimistic.
That's because
they think Trump is going to come in. Yeah, they think Trump is going to come in and just redo the put fresh blood in the SEC. And there's going to be a Bitcoin reserve, and Trump is going to be hardcore pro crypto. I'm personally extremely skeptical. I'm very skeptical, but I'm the only, of all my friends, I'm the only one who's skeptical. I feel like everyone is very optimistic.
In terms of crypto, it's perfect, I think, really. And I'm of course like we got this SEC lawsuits being finished. Some of them actually should have started, and we're already missing Gary Gensler, given what meme coins made recently. I mean, probably Gary Gensler could fix this, but usually Gary Gensler attacks the good guys, not the bad ones. Maybe it was good, and I'm really optimistic of the fact that there are talks of using blockchain in terms of transparency of government spending, treasury, all these things, which are a killer use case for blockchain. And for some reason, nobody uses that, but it might come out. I think it will require a year at least to prepare the software for this kind of use, because you do not hurry in governmental software, right? But I think in 2026, we might see already US government, in some cases, using blockchain tech for transparency of its spending or even financial system. And this would be great. This would be the revival of utility of blockchains.
Well, that's the thing. So I've got a bit of experience in this realm. So I always feel like the U.S. government has had this kind of love-hate relationship with blockchain. So on one hand, obviously there's been Operation Choke Point 2.0, and the U.S. government has been intentionally destroying our industry and really doing as much damage to our industry as humanly possible. On the flip side, they've actually been investing in some blockchain stuff. And in fact, my team, we worked on a NSF, the National Science Foundation funded blockchain R&D project in 2020 to put pharma supply chain on chain. Because right now, because that was like April of 2020, and the U.S. government realized it needed medical supplies and it couldn't get any at that time, and they were kind of shitting bricks basically. And so we got funding finally to do an R&D project. We were working with Pfizer and having all these calls with these big pharma companies to move their supply chain on chain. So that was funded by the government. So it's like, yeah, the U.S. government I feel like can't really figure out what its relationship with blockchain really is. It's like, I mean personally, I feel kind of kicked out of New York State anyway, where it came down to it, where it was like, well, my lawyer straight up told me, like, if I stay here and I'm issuing tokens in New York State, like, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad news. So, I don't know, and maybe I'm overly cynical because of all that, but I think at the end of the, and maybe I'm cynical and maybe conspiratorial, but my feeling about the whole thing is the Bitcoin white paper says Bitcoin, electronic cash, and America already has cash. America has its own form of cash, its own money, and it likes having its own money. And I don't know if America's. I don't think it's in America's. It's not in the best interest. It's not in the best interest of the established power structure in America to introduce a competitor to its global reserve currency. So on one hand, Trump is saying, we're pro Bitcoin because we have to be, because we don't want China to have the crypto, yada yada yada. But it's a conflict of interest because Bitcoin is and has always been a very politically oriented shot at the Federal Reserve, right? It fundamentally it's always been very politically motivated. So I don't know. I'm still skeptical, but it's nice that everyone around me is much more optimistic about it. There's much less FUD in the air.
The Federal Reserve is still yet not nationalized, more or less. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works there in terms of the connections between the people to say who actually controls it, but it seems like it's not yet nationalized, and you kind of can hedge the actions of your own Federal Reserve by buying Bitcoin in your government. So.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually pretty corrupt. If you really, when you look at it, it's pretty corrupt. It's a private corporation that prints all the money. The Federal Reserve. It's actually, there's nothing federal about it.
Well, not all the money, just the base of it.
The what?
Not all the money, just the base of it. Most of the money is printed in commercial banks all over the world, even offshore, not in the Federal Reserve, so to say.
So, I'm working on a video. Maybe I would like your thoughts on it. I was going to do a social commentary piece where I just say like, hey, because in a lot of Trump speeches, he was like, yeah, we have to get Bitcoin, we have to get crypto back in America because, the talent is leaving America. There's a brain drain for crypto, and I'm literally exactly that. Like, literally, and there's a lot of us. Who especially were in New York State in 2016 is when they introduced the bit license in New York, and there was just an exodus because like New York really was, Brooklyn especially was kind of the crypto capital. You had Consensus, you had all the Ethereum guys. That seemed to be where the crypto people were hanging out. It was kind of centralized in Brooklyn, and then with bit license, everyone began leaving, and so there's all over Asia, all over the world. There's us, American expats who, so now, yes, I could be building my crypto businesses in the United States and in New York State, but instead I'm helping hedge funds in Hong Kong and Singapore. I'm quite literally helping, Chinese people and mainland Chinese citizens build the future of blockchain here and not in America. And so I think I was going to make a big a big video that basically says, people like me really were kicked out.
Yeah. See what you've done, not me. Yeah.
See what you've done. Yeah. My life is. I had to leave New York, and my life is so miserable now. As I'm like eating like delicious looking, like pho and, yeah.
Same for me. I mean, I'm also expat because of these things, because you can't do business in Russia. So I was ready to move away from it even when I was in school, and things never changed. It became worse, and now I'm contributing to the West world, so to say, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the crypto regulation? What is the regulatory climate in Russia for crypto?
So you don't actually have to even think about that if you think about the fact that the government is rigged, the police is mafia, there is no judges who cannot be bought, and if you have a big business, they will find you and they will otherwise take it from you or make you pay all the revenue, all the profits you have. And of course we have some laws, new laws, which I don't even follow because I'm out for the last six years, and I don't want to discuss it. It's just meaningless to stay there.
Yeah,
you're a crypto person who is going to do big stuff, not just earn some cash on meme coins.
Well, we're both. Like your description of Russia, it sounds. As you're speaking, I'm thinking it sounds like America, but I imagine it's just much more. The corruption is, it's a different flavor, and it's a little bit more extreme, I think.
Corruption is like everywhere; it ruins the whole country. Yeah.
So all right. So network states. So how about, we both had to leave our respective, countries for various reasons, kind of related to what we couldn't stay where we were because we want to do big things, and the government where we're from is trying to stop people like us from building big things. So what do we do? Network state. Do we get together and do we form a network state and just, do we move to, do we buy some land? Do we buy a small island in the Gulf of Thailand or something and just get all the crypto people on an island? Like, what do you think? What do you think? What should we do?
Well, we already have experiments like that. in Honduras. There is the guys built already, I think, 1 or 2 towers, 12 floors high.
I've seen that.
Yeah, the problem with it is that in order to do big stuff, ideally, you still should be somewhere in the financial center. Still, because if you're on an island in Thailand, the amount of funds that you can get and the amount of your capitalization will be already potentially lower compared to you living in Hong Kong or London or New York.
Oh, well, of course, I'm being facetious about the thing in Thailand. I've heard so many over the years, kind of half drunk, crackpot, crypto bros over the years. Like, dude, listen, I got an idea. Like, we'll go to there's an island off Koh Phangan in the Gulf of Thailand. Okay, my buddy's uncle has a thing, and but no, I mean, being on a tropical island where it's effectively a crypto conference that never ends is sort of like kind of my definition of hell, I think. But no, I mean, it is quite tricky jurisdiction wise, and
I think the NetworkState should be kind of decentralized more or less, so you don't care where you live, but you are kind of abstracted away from the economy and society, from the economy you live in. You are paying taxes, of course, but you're working for an actual DAO, like we always wanted to, right? For example, our democratic Humanode DAO. And you care about things happening in the DAO. You don't care about local politics, pretty much. So your mind and your manpower, your intellectual power is all there in the DAO. And physically, we don't have to be near each other, I suppose. But we just meet on the conference as we usually do in various nice places, because that's the only reason for me to travel.
Conferences? Yeah. Same. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I people have been talking about these network states and these DAOs and things for a long time, and I think we're definitely I think at a crux in the road where something has to be. I feel like I know so many developers who are working on network state concepts, and everyone's iterating quite a bit right now on some of this stuff. I think it's a matter of time, I think, before somebody comes out with a governance structure or an organizational structure that is a big hit, is like viable and kind of gains popularity.
I do think we figure it out. On the other hand, it should be, if it's a small thing, it would first be like a commune and hope it will not turn into kind of cult, like what we had with Oshi guys in US.
Oh, it definitely will. It will. It'll
because when you move somewhere, you have to have school facilities, you have to have hospitals, everything. And if you want to be kind of separate from others in all of these aspects, you may turn into a cult. Hope it will be not crazy enough to sustain itself before it becomes a normal state.
Okay, so real talk. I'm starting a church in the state of Texas. Yeah, I'm actually starting an actual church. There's a DeFi project that I'm a contributor to that shall remain unnamed for the moment. That is owned and operated by the DAO. Right, so it's entirely on chain. It's an on chain DeFi primitive. The treasury and all the operations and everything. It requires DAO participation to do anything administrative. So there's not a monolithic controller. So I began thinking, what is a DAO really? And in the U.S., the U.S. government keeps trying to regulate DAOs as though they're just legally a single purpose investment vehicle, an SPV. The U.S. government regulates DAOs like it's purely just people coming together to invest money into a common enterprise. And so all of this securities regulation, so they've been trying to impose all the securities regulation onto DAOs. But when you actually if you were to make a list of all the things that DAOs do, and the use cases for DAOs over the last 10 years, and then you look at all of the organizational structural types in the U.S. that are legally recognized, hedge funds, single purpose vehicles, or churches. Right. Actually, there's more crossover. DAOs have more in common with churches than with anything related that's governed by the SEC. Churches, gambling is legal in churches. They do bingo and these kind of things. It's community oriented more than anything. So actually, I am setting up a church, and the state of Texas is the easiest state to do this. I'm establishing a church, and the DeFi protocol will be operated by this church that I will be a pastor at in the state of Texas. And I'm just kind of doing this as a, almost kind of a, because it'll be fun, I think, and it's kind of an experiment in regulatory yoga, but more than any, but more than anything, as a preventative measure. So if the government comes in and says, "Oh, these tokens are securities, you guys are investors, yada yada," this is like, no. This is not. We're not. Single purpose vehicles are not voting on what a logo should be in their portfolio. They're not voting on where to hold a meetup or a conference. We're a church, and so we should be regulated like a church is regulated. So yeah, that's the thing that it's like $2,000 to set the whole thing up, and it'll be fun.
Working on mostly what will be the main goals of the DAO, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, practically speaking, the DAO, any contract upgrades requires multiple signers to do it. So if someone were to upgrade a contract, there is a treasury of tokens that the DAO is in control of for budget for spending, for marketing and this kind of thing, and people submit proposals and so that there's a treasury management aspect of the DAO. And there is
they don't even invest anywhere. They only invest in themselves, so to say, for development, marketing, ecosystem.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's really primarily, effectively like startup app operations. That is the purpose of the DAO for this DeFi protocol. So it's not like it's investing, and it's not like it's the Lao where people are or AI 16Z or something. It is fundamentally operating this decentralized exchange, and that's another reason all the regulation in the U.S. around operating a marketplace for the sale of securities, is structured around is all the legal structure is around a corporation. So this will be the first time a church is doing. Ultimately, I think if the government doesn't like it, they'll just sue it out of existence anyway. I don't think the law really matters all that much in America and what it means to crypto, but it is a thing that I'm going to do, and I will be holding. A requirement is I have to hold a weekly service, so it's going to be great. So I'll send you an invite to join my church.
Online or how?
Yeah, it's entirely online. So you have to have a weekly service. People start online churches all the time.
So in order to get established, you don't even have to have any rented house, something, where people can come and pray.
No, not at all. Yeah, you need an address. So I've got a PO box in Texas.
What would be fun? What would be fun? People say that it is kind of cool when the DAO or the protocol or the token has a cult, right? And if your church will be legally considered as a cult in US, you will be so bullish. So
that's what I'm saying.
Protocol.
Yeah, I'm glad you see. I'm glad you see my vision on that. Yeah, we'll be the first. We'll be the first cult. The first cult coin that is quite literally and legally.
Yes.
A church. That's exactly it.
Crypto disco for many years, you have to expect nothing, right?
You have to. Yeah, it's exactly right. Crypto disco. Crypto disco will tell you what it wants. It's crypto. We're not in control of crypto disco. Okay, it is guiding us through the vibe of the disco, and I think I think there was some really good stuff in there. So
what were the recent crypto disco vibes that you think like were the, I don't want to call it narratives because narrative is such a deep word for 3 months of bull run of one crypto small industry. It's not a narrative. It's just the music which is popular right now, so to say.
Fashion, yeah. I mean, like, I was feeling pretty hopeful for all the AI, like Eliza and the AI 16Z and all this kind of stuff. There was this AI narrative, and there's some really good tech going on there. And I'm building a chat bot, so I'm trying to hook my DEX up to a chat bot. So you just natural language tell the DEX what to do.
That's actually very cool. If it's not only DEX, but it can do some other stuff. It's like aggregator of, let's say, DEX and farming and other stuff. That's awesome. And if you automate the basically transactions kind of with the things, there is reactive network. I recently talked to these guys with that stuff. So you can just press allow spending and they will do everything for you. Bridge, swap, stake, all this stuff. And you can tell
sweet.
to AI in a large language model like that, do it please. And well, hopefully it will do it right. At least you can try with $10 and then pour the whole amount with the same prompt.
Yeah, like there's well, that's cool. That sounds sweet. Mine's probably not going to be as fully featured as all that.
No, I mean I'm just talking about the future, not about what people build. That would be the end goal of it, I would say. At least for to UX. Yeah.
I'm building the future, man. I'm building this future.
So why suddenly have you stopped being so, so not bullish, but so happy and excited around the Eliza virtuals AI stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had this concept for a while. A GTP, natural language interface with crypto because I mean primarily because first the UX for DEXs and dApps in general sucks really bad. It's
I'm gonna show you something later that does not suck.
Okay, good. Yeah, please, show me something, but that something good and even my own. I've got my own DEX and. Yeah, like it's really easy to use for a DEX, but there's still limitations. There's a wonderful, I don't know if I'll remember the name of it. The wonderful science fiction article from the late 1960s that was very influential in kind of user experience design thinking. And it was, I'd have to dig up the exact name, but it was something ubiquitous computing. So the idea is thinking about, and this is, at the time that they were coming up, they were connecting a typewriter to a computer, which is what we have now, this kind of text button interface. They're like, no, in the future, ubiquitous computing, there'll just be a butler. Imagine a butler that's always there with you all the time, and you just say to very much like Star Trek, like, computer, please give me, what's the news? What's the weather? What's the this? Bring me this, bring me that. So, I just feel like for the user experience of finance, this what actually was the user experience of finance until like 2005. Because remember, if you
had a real person, doing all stuff for you.
you had a broker, and if you really think about it, your average. The thing with the charts and everything, this chart that is standard now. I mean, that they brought to your average trader in 2005 with the innovation of online trading and stuff. That was for professionals. That's techie stuff. Your average Joe doesn't want to look at this complex looking chart. It looks aggressive, and most people don't know how to use a chart, and they don't care.
It's even hard to buy the asset itself without looking at the chart. Let's tell the truth. Because I'm telling my mom, just you have some gold, please buy some stuff that they use for atom energy fields, like urine, right? And she can't find it. Yeah, it's hard. She can't find it in her banking app. So.
Atom energy fields? It sounds like a Cosmos thing, maybe.
Oh no, I mean just the atom factories that produce atomic energy. Because I think this is very bullish. Like you don't even have to think how bullish it is, because there will be over 30 plants built in the next 5 years, and they have to have this resource, and it's not limitless, and you have just 2 major producers of this resource, so it's an easy bet for the next 10 years.
Are we talking about nuclear energy?
Yeah,
nuclear power.
Yeah.
Well, this is
This is an off topic.
Sorry. No. I mean, your mother. She's obviously she's in Russia, where they're still thinking about. They're trying to solve energy problems, where like in the West, everyone's just kind of given up.
No, not really. The majority of the plants will be in China and France. France will build like 5 of them.
Oh, I didn't know about France. I know Germany just closed a bunch, but
and France is still opening. It will be the nuclear center that will feed all Europe probably one day.
Well, and the other another reason for optimism and a reason for being bullish about the future in general is for climate change. So Microsoft and Google are building these giant. They're talking about the necessity to build new nuclear power plants in the U.S. to power all the AI stuff. So this could be AI could actually be the catalyst that gets us off of fossil fuels.
That was a good trick to get us back to AI, which I think that these AI coins that were out, they look so much like meme coins just because people haven't configured the utility of them really. And that's why they are going through this crazy fall. Okay, well, we have a lot of utility coins falling like that as well, but nevertheless, meme coins will bounce back, not that much as AI stuff. It's gonna still bounce back, I suppose, because the innovation in AI agents never stopped. People got enough funding to continue it for years. I mean, crypto AI agents as well. And, before that, it was just bullshit posters AI agents. I mean, posting on X. But I've recently been to a huge DeSci Twitter space for 2 hours, which was actually visited even by Andrew Huberman, this crazy popular Stanford guy. And so I found there pretty interesting things like AI agent who is actually finding the inconsistencies in scientific works. Okay, so you just give him scientific work, he says, oh, this can be bullshit, check it out. And he just can do it non-stop. Then what was really crazy, and I was saying like, hey, why don't we have this? Why don't we have AI agent posting on X? But in fact, it's not based on normal compute, but it's based on organoid, compute. It's when you create the proteins from scratch in a lab and neurons from scratch in the lab, and you basically use it again as LLM, but the nature of computation is completely different, so you probably get a different result. And the guys were building it. I found them 2 days ago or so. And yeah, it's going to be posting on X from an organoid computer pretty soon. An organoid computer looks like complete biotechy body horror. So very cool.
Cool. Send me a link to that. I'd love to see this.
Okay. They haven't yet proved to me that it actually works, but they are sending photos from their lab, and I think they're going to be. I'll send you when they're live because I'm following the guys. It's dope. I mean, it's awesome, and the innovation never stops. And the most, like in economic terms, I'm really excited about AI agents, because these guys, they actually trade stuff on chain. They have their own wallets. They have their own assets. The transaction fees can go to humans, right? But at the same time, what's even more important is that the economy, you can't fix the economy by printing money unless people are going to use this money. So if you're just increasing the monetary supply, nothing happens. Nothing. You actually have to use it, meaning that the velocity has to match the newly minted money, so to say, newly created supply. And AI agents increase the velocity of money, full stop. That's why I'm excited about them. That's the real value.
Is this because effectively the AI agents are going to be paying one another, and we're going to be
paying one another, trading on our dexes, all this stuff? Yes.
Yeah, I'm very much a techno optimist when it comes to AI. There's like a lot of fear. I mean, like there's a lot of fear and anxiety like in the broader culture about it, but. Man, we've been through so many. I mean, like the internet already effectively is AI in many ways, and we already effectively are androids with our usage of the internet. And we, humans have been through this so many times with every major technological revolution. It's another tool. We don't work. We're not farmers. We're not in the field. We're not in the coal mine. We're not in the factory.
Oh man, farmers are using AI nowadays nonstop. They have the drones, which are flying around and dropping the nutrients for the soil. So
yeah,
they're also AI. They're also cyborgs, so to say, with their drones, which they control. Yeah,
and. For the first time since the 70s, for the first time in human history, we have a surplus of calories. We have more calories than people to eat it, and so I don't know. I'm just generally pretty optimistic about all this AI stuff, and if even just for my cheesy, if you want to open a 50x long position on. Obama, Trump, Melania coin on my DEX, and using a desktop is too inconvenient. You want to just do it. You want to just tell the bot over Telegram. That would be my kind of a cheesy use case, but still, nevertheless, it will be quicker than the current thing.
Sounds awesome, man. Yeah, and I think that these are the things that are easier to use by other AIs because they're also large language models like yours, and they just talk and transactions happen, and that's great.
And it's very it is very exciting. And there needs to be like a major there needs to be improvement. And like by the way, like I've nothing puts venture capitalists to sleep faster than saying, oh, we have great UX, and like we're going to be improving the UX, and there really hasn't been that much money or drive behind like UX in crypto, and no one's really appreciated it. But so finally with this AI, there's actual like capital and there's momentum behind improving the way we interface with these financial tools.
Yeah. Having much better UX was never a pitch like that could work.
I've tried so many times. And
that's what I started with when I was 20. Or even less.
No one. You know what it is? It's a slinky. That's what if I were to tell you, oh, I've got this cool new thing. It's like a spring, but it's not a spring, but it's a toy, but it bounces. and it's metal, and it just sounds insane. But if you hold an actual slinky in your hand, then you get it. You know, so and that's what design is, and that's why it's very hard to raise, or it's hard to sell an idea based on the idea of like, you know, our design's great, you know, yada yada. It doesn't really hit you until you actually use the thing, but that takes capital and
until you prove that people love it as well. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to talk about games. Oh, sorry, not games. We want to talk about art. Yeah, games.
I did want to talk about art. Let's let's talk about let's wrap this in a few minutes. But let's close on art. Let's close on art, I think.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
We've got like 2 hours. I've got to call it yeah. Well, let's talk about art. First of all, I want to see your girlfriend's painting, the really big one.
Okay, well, there are a few that I'm going to show to you. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly the meaning of them because I never asked. I think that we can figure out the meaning ourselves. That's what I think about art and music.
I feel the same. Yeah.
I don't even need the lyrics of the music. I'll figure out what he sings myself. So, okay, well, there are some digital artworks, but the best is not digital, and I have it here.
Yeah.
Let's start. You want to start with the biggest one? Okay.
Yeah, that really got my attention when you pulled it out.
That's because you didn't see the others. So I hope we can see it fine.
Whoa.
Here we go. Lot number 1.
It looks very very feminine. It's very abstract.
It is. You can see 2 people anyway.
Yeah, I see 2 people. It's a she. She's holding a pitchfork. It's definitely a mashup. It's really just kind of it's difficult to. It's cool. It's intriguing. It draws me in, and I like the halo around the head thing. It has a kind of maybe religious connotations.
I think this is one of my favorite ones. Here we go.
Oh, I was gonna say that's sweet because it's an embrace, but it looks like they are reaching through each other's bodies.
Yeah,
but that's also kind of sweet, really. That's actually kind of it's romantic and it's beautiful in a gruesome kind of way. I like it.
I love your comments. Okay, well, most of them are very romantic. This is more.
Oh yeah, that is very romantic. It's very sexual, really. There's definitely something sexual happening. I like the background. It looks very like kind of 70s in this somehow.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go next.
Yeah, I'm noticing a theme. I mean, yeah, they're feminine. These paintings are feminine. They're sexual, but there's something. There's a darkness. There's something. Look at her hand. It's kind of like a claw. There's definitely a lot going on there. And I
think the claw is in his hand, not her hand.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, there's complex things happening in this image.
It's actually the first exhibition. These paintings were created over years, maybe like 4 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, let's go. We're getting to the end of it. Can you see it?
This is nice. This is very calming and comforting, I think.
Yeah, the colors are like
it's very warm. It's very warm feeling, and there's something very gentle about it. You know,
I think it's
one figure still holding.
Because we lived there for 1 year.
Oh, where is this?
We lived in Thailand for 1 year. Yeah, so probably the ideas come from there. Okay, we continue the same theme, of course. Here you go.
Yeah, this is her Thailand series is definitely it's not, there's nothing dark about it. It's very, very warm and soft and tropical, and There's no edge, you know. It's just naturalistic, you know.
I think this is one of the recent ones, not from Thailand, but yeah, still. Oh, I haven't seen this one. Oh my god. Probably it's not finished. I don't have. Yeah, I can't show. Let me see if I can take one from there, or it's visible. I think that's my favorite one because of the background.
I can see it. I can see it from here. Yeah.
Oh, it's alright. It's easy to get back. Here you go.
Wow. It just looks like two people have just merged into.
Oh yeah.
Or it looks like one creature that's splitting in two.
Yeah, like another picture, these people are not like going through each other's bodies, at least they are kind of merging peacefully.
It's almost sexual, like almost, you know. It's romantic, maybe. It's very.
Yeah, it is. And well, actually, I'm not an artist myself. I only jam on my synth sometimes with people who really know how to play music.
Cool.
And of course, I've been to many museums together with Sasha. Actually, her nickname is no, but it's easy to find. Yeah. And we've been to many museums of modern art, which I was at first skeptical about when I heard about modern art in school. I was very skeptical because like it didn't even show you anything. But I think that now it changed, and you can find things you love in different kinds of modern art. I would say that my favorite museum of the whole life is the one in Thailand in Bangkok.
I was just there.
You was just there. So
I was just there.
Okay, have you seen? I don't remember the name of the artist. On the third or fourth floor, there are like huge scenes of people, sometimes under the water, and there are also some body horror creatures. You know, have you seen them?
Yeah, I'd have to go through some of my photos. I vaguely remember. I vaguely know what you're talking about.
Okay,
they're huge, right? They were really
they were really huge, very detailed, with a lot of different like persons on it and creatures on it, and it was wonderful. I had a really weird feeling, the one that you only get after a crazy psychological thriller. So a really strong feeling. I liked it a lot about this modern Thai paintings. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of just. I mean, modern art is such a broad, you know, kind of a broad term. Yeah, no, I mean, art's life, man. For me, art that is what makes life worth living. I am not. I am an artist, but I am not a painter, and so this is. Here, I'll show you a couple of what my.
Yeah, if you can take them off.
Yeah. Here, let me adjust my speaker situation. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, check it out. Well, she did a lovely portrait. Of me.
Yeah, like you're an anime.
Yeah. Me with much cooler hair, when I used to have much cooler hair. Really, she does like a lot of landscapes. So let me see if I can get the light right.
Looks like she loves Japanese culture, I would say.
Well, it's actually it's very. I think a lot of her work is inspired by her hometown of Dalat, Vietnam. So it is very. I can see a lot of the. A lot of the same the flowers and stuff is like Japanese with the Yeah, it is like definitely like Japanesey with the pink cherry blossoms and stuff. Yeah, some of the rest of these are actually stuck right to the wall, but I can't take them down because I have adhesive that really sticks them. But
they're beautiful.
Yeah, I am not. Oh, sorry. Let me get my mic right. Yeah, I am not a painter. I make music, and I'm very much a designer, and I've done some illustration, but I am not a painter. But all my life I've been surrounded by painters. Everyone in my I had an uncle who who is a very, very active painter, and my girlfriend's a painter. I've always been surrounded by people slapping paint around all my life, but I've never really been drawn to the medium. I've done some stuff. I'm not a natural. I'm a natural at other things. Certainly not painting, but it's life, man. Like if not art, then what is the point? What is the point of everything?
That's what Sam Altman gonna tell us when he's AGI gonna do all we do and give us money just to do art.
We'll see. I'm not holding my breath for Sam Altman's AGI future.
Just
right.
A probability.
I was gonna say, like, right now it just seems like it's seems like a lot of what they're doing is trying to take jobs away from artists right now more than anything. But we'll see. We'll see.
I haven't seen actually any artworks that I really like created by AI.
Me neither. And I've really been digging. Yeah, it's all very uncanny valley. I have used AI to do like mock-up stuff and stuff, like illustration mock-ups. Nothing that's final, nothing that's production ready. And I've been experimenting with all the AI code tools, Cursor and GitHub Copilot and stuff, and it's just like half it saves you. It's for whatever time it saves you. When it introduces bugs, it's almost worse. Like I always prefer. It's almost not worth the time it saves me for all the crap it introduces.
As our engineers say, it's actually easier to write code than to read it. So.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. I strongly agree with that. Yeah, and that's the issue with the AI. Like in 2 seconds, it'll give you 200 lines of code, but then there's a bug, and you're like, oh, and you're going through every little thing. And the way the AI writes code, sometimes it's obviously not written by a human. Like it's unintuitive, right? It's not how a human would write it, and so it's very difficult to follow. But we'll see. I'm feeling at the very least, it'll be useful to improve the UX of my decks. It'll be good for if nothing else. It's good for that.
Hopefully they can do it other way around, and AI would do audits. But I mean, that's a hard job. Can't do it yet.
It'll do what?
Audits of the code.
The audience?
The audit.
Oh, the audit. Yeah. Oh, so I've got a friend. Who is working on that. He was doing smart contract audits for a long time, and he's trying to automate all that. But hey man, I garbage in, garbage out. Those AIs are this automated auditing stuff. It can only be as good as the known exploits and stuff, as the known bugs. And yeah, so I mean it's better than nothing, obviously, but it'll be this kind of stuff is better than nothing. But I'm kind of skeptical of a foolproof solution. And it's just the thing that keeps me up at night is a DeFi is a hack, right? I'm more worried about that than anything because I've got all these DeFi things. Anyways, well, cool.
Let's wrap it up, man.
Let's wrap it up. I'm looking at the clock here, dude. We've been talking for like 2 hours. We've got some excellent stuff. So, so I'll piece it all together and post it up and tag you, And thanks for being on episode 2 of the Crypto Disco, my friend.
Yeah, I'm happy to be one of the first ones. Of course, your cousin is the first one. Well, I can't beat him there.
Well, this is, I mean, like you're the first. Yeah, I'm trying to establish like kind of reoccurring guests and stuff, and like I'd love to have you back, and it's kind of when I'm sitting up here in the first like 10 guests, kind of getting the vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Getting in the flow. So, yeah, dude, thanks. It was a great show, and I'll tag you and I'll link you, and let's do it again. Let's do it again very soon.
Cool, man.
All right,
let's
brother.
go back to our jobs.